on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Internet or internets, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. How are you all? This is Marcus from BlackMarriedDebtFree. I'm recording this week's podcast live. I'm going solo. Shira is very busy at work and I work evenings. And so I'm recording this week's podcast alone. I would like to welcome everybody to the Black Married and Debt Free podcast. For those of you who are returning guests or are new guests, welcome, welcome, welcome. As I stated earlier, I am live on 3 different platforms. I'm recording live on the podcast. I'm recording live on Instagram, and I am recording live on YouTube. So thank you. Shouts out to everybody who is streaming this live. John, what's up? Don, what's going on? Everybody on Instagram, what's up? What's up? So this week, I'm going to be talking about, I'm merging 2 things. I'm passionate about a few things, but 2 things I'm very passionate about is this time of year, which is Black history and history in general, but Black history for sure, and finance, real estate, entrepreneurship, all that good stuff. I love it. You guys know that I love it. You know, me and Shira love it. We talk about it here on this platform. And so I'm going to be sharing a story that I'm sure not many of you have heard about a wonderful woman that went from a slave shortly after World War I. She was a slave in Mississippi, and she went from being a slave in Mississippi with 3 children to a real estate mogul in Los Angeles County, currently one of the most expensive places to live, one of the most expensive areas to own real estate. This lady did it in the late 1800s. And when she died, she was a real estate giant. And I'm going to tell you her story. But before we get into that, we have to do some housekeeping, some house cleaning. And I want to share with you all something that I think you would benefit from. Many of you would benefit from. We get a lot of people here that ask us questions about exactly how Shira and I were able to pay off our 6-figure debt. And now we own 2 out-of-state income producing rental properties, and we were able to pay off our debts, and we've increased our net worth significantly. And people ask, well, exactly how are you able to do that? And we give you bits and pieces and little nuggets here on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and the podcast. But what we did was we did a extremely deep dive, and we created a masterclass that outlines exactly how we were able to do all of those things. And we want to encourage you all to check that out. It is our rentals were in North Carolina. We live in Sacramento. Someone asked that. We live in Sacramento, California, and our rentals are in North Carolina. So we created a masterclass to help others to do the same. We outlined the steps and strategies that we used, and we put them in long form, and we did a deep dive. So that's available in all of the descriptions. So in Instagram, it's available in our biography, our description on Instagram. On YouTube, it is in the description below. And on Facebook, I will tag that in the description as soon as this podcast closes. So you guys check that out. It's available. It's available. And many people are already purchasing the class. It's super exciting to see how it's blessing people. We have people in other countries who are purchasing the masterclass. So you don't want to miss out, man. I mean, you have to invest in yourself first, right? And a lot of times we want stuff for free. What can I get for free? I'm like that. I want stuff for free. If I can get it for free, I'm trying to find it, right? But sometimes, those special nuggets are things that you have to invest in to get. You can't get everything for free. So we encourage you to check that out. Now that we've done that, let's dive into today's episode. And we're going to talk about this wonderful woman, Beatty Mason. I don't know if any of you have heard of this wonderful woman, Beatty Mason. She was born in Mississippi, and she was a slave to a family that they were converted to Mormonism, and they decided to travel in 1851. They decided to travel from Mississippi to, they wanted to head out west, right? And just to pause there, for us Californians, us people, African Americans that live in the West, think about what our families and our ancestors went through, just because we know how we got here. We know how we got to the US, and we were, down south, most of us, a large majority of us, those of us who live in West Coast, think of what our families went through to get here, right? So that's the first thing I thought about when I heard this story. So Beatty Mason traveled with her slave owners out west. So they headed to Utah. Present day Salt Lake City, is a large Mormon population. So they were converted to Mormonism. They wanted to go out west. And when they got to Utah, they were there for a few years. Keep in mind, Beatty Mason traveled with her slave masters and her 3 kids. They traveled by foot over 1,700 miles to go from Mississippi to Utah. So she was a caregiver. She was a nurse. She was a midwife. She was taking care of her masters, taking care of other slaves on the way. So they made their voyage to Utah. I mean, we're talking Donner Party couldn't do some of this stuff that they did, right? So they traveled and they got to Utah. They stayed there for a few years, and then they migrated to San Bernardino, California, Southern California. And in that time, California was a free state, right? So she was there, and she was still a slave for 4 to 5 years, not knowing, man, I'm somewhere where I don't have to be this, right? And so she had developed a relationship with some free African Americans, Black folk in California, San Bernardino, and they put a bug in her head. Hey, this is a different, this is different out here. Now we're talking, at this point, we're in the late 1800s. So they're sharing with her like, hey, you can get out of this. This woman escaped from those slave masters that she traveled with. She managed to escape, get into the court system, and fight her way out of slavery in California. She somehow got it to the courts. At that time, she couldn't even testify against her slave masters because that was against the law for a Black woman to testify against, those who had her enslaved. She somehow got this through the court system and was able to get her freedom. So now Beatty Mason is in California, a freed slave, with the skills that she had learned all these years of being a nurse, being a midwife, being a caregiver. And I'm gonna pause there because many of us have been in no way the same type of situation that she was in, and many of us possess skills and different things that we can do. And what she did with her skills was she turned that into entrepreneurship, which is what we encourage others to do when we're talking about side hustles and when we're talking about ways to earn income so that we can pay off our debt. When we talk about, man, I got my 9 to 5, but what else can I do? What else can I do? What other skills do I have? So she asked herself that same question and said, I got to get it. I got to get it. So she used her skills as a caregiver, as a nurse, as a midwife, and started her own business and set up shop in present day downtown Los Angeles. Now, this is the late 1800s. After slavery, Reconstruction, she voyaged from Mississippi all the way to Utah, and then from Utah to Southern California. And she still had the wherewithal. She still had the ingenuity to create her own business and set up shop in present day downtown Los Angeles. That's not where the story ends. I know you already like jaw dropped, because I was when I first heard about the story. So with the income that she was generating from her business, her caregiving, midwife, nursing business, she took that money and invested in land in downtown LA, present day Spring Street, which is where a lot of us has been seeing the memorials for Kobe Bryant. We know where the Staples Center is. A lot of that activity is where she set up shop and where she purchased land in the 1800s. So we're talking prime real estate here. We're talking like real estate that like a lot of us now would kill to have. She purchased acreage in the 1800s with money that she saved from her business, and so that's, to me, is just amazing in and of itself. And there's so much to draw from that, because like I said, she had to overcome so much to do that. And the thing of it is she had she purchased what they consider, if you were to take what the land was worth then, she paid $300,000 for that land. Now that land will be worth $6 million. So this is a slave that owned $6 million worth of real estate in the 1800s, shortly after slavery. And to me, that's just amazing. So when she died, when Beatty Mason died, she was the richest. She died in 1891. She was the richest Black woman this side of the Mississippi. I've always wanted to say that, first of all, this side of the Mississippi. But I'm just encouraged by stories like this. And we wanted to bring, stories like this to you all, especially here, on Black History Month. And like I said, this subject is exciting for me, because Shira and I endeavor to, we've already got a bit of a footprint in real estate, but we endeavor to do more in the coming years. We actually have sat down and created like a 10-year plan that will be significant for us. And it's kind of a semi fire plan and just generational wealth plan in general that is entrenched in real estate. And it's something that we are going to do. And we're trying to set it off now with it's kind of like a Rubik's Cube kind of thing. But stories like this encourage me, excite me, and motivate me, that if a wonderful woman like that can do what she did, why can't we do it? We get so many questions on how did you guys purchase out of state? I want to do that. And how did you do that? And I wish I can do that. We can do this. And if this story doesn't, light a fire under you or show you that anything is possible if we put our mind to it, it's not for someone else. It's for you to do. If you want to do it, you can do it. And stories like this literally just give me that fire that I need to continue on. And I hope it does the same for you. And that's why I wanted to present a story to our listeners, and just to encourage you. If it's paying off debt, if it's saving $500 for an emergency fund, if it's, wanting to start contributing more to your 401k, if it's wanting to save for your kids' college fund, whatever that goal is, whatever that financial goal is, you can do it. You can do it. And stories like this hopefully encourage you and show you that, man, I can do anything. I can do anything. And, so we're just super excited for what's in the future for us. And I'm excited for what's in the future for you all who's checking out this podcast, who's following us here at Black Married Debt Free. We appreciate you guys. You're the the fuel for all this. So thank you for checking out this live. If we have any questions, I'm going to just kind of scroll through and see what everybody's talking about, and we'll just answer some questions, man. So let's see here. Don asked which area we have rentals in. We have rentals. Me and Shire have rentals in North Carolina, the Greensboro area. Side note, someone says, thank you so much for the Roth IRA. Please post more in the future. So we have videos on YouTube. For those of you who are watching me on other platforms, we do have a flourishing YouTube channel, and we talk about how easy it is to open up a Roth IRA and start contributing to that. You can open that in the same time it takes you to open up a Spotify account or unbox an iPhone X, you know what I'm saying, and set that up. By the time you're done doing that, you could have set up a Roth IRA and started contributing. So check out the videos we have for that on YouTube. Let's see what else we have. The woman's name is Beatty Mason. So you guys check out her story. She has an amazing story. I just kind of, just scratched the surface on her story. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you guys for checking us out. We're excited for what we got going on. Like I said, check out our masterclass that is available right now. We're talking about how to get out of debt and build wealth. Getting out of debt is ground zero. It's an important step. Me and Shire were like super excited when we did it. But one thing we realized after we did it is, man, we still got to go to work. And I don't love going to work. I don't know about you. Maybe you love your job. I strongly like my job, but I don't know. But the goal is to be able to free up time, and your job keeps you away for 40 hours or more. So we realized that once we paid off debt. And so that's why we included the build wealth portion. It's not as hard as you think it is to build wealth. It's just about consistency. And we really break that down in the masterclass. So without further ado, happy Black History Month. I love all of you guys. Me and Shire love all of you guys. And we will holler at you guys later. Peace.